get this. You send us chapters from a book, ask us to dive in, and let me tell you, this is right up my alley.
Oh, I can only imagine.
We're talking about your picks from the Studio RacHell Post book.
Excellent choices, by the way.
Chapters 3 and 4, to be exact. Studio RacHell Post.
It's like the ultimate cabinet of curiosities, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. And we're about to unlock the stories behind two of its most peculiar residents. First, a gnome who's got more than just garden gnomes on his family tree.
Definitely not your average garden variety.
And wait for it. A creature that might just rewrite the book on what it means to be alive.
Now, that's what I call intriguing. I'm hooked already.
So first up, we're tackling the Tomten Lyktan.
Let's see, that's
Gnome in the Lantern, for us non-Swedish speakers.
Ah, right, of course.
Picture this. It's the early 1800s, a bustling East India Company ship sailing to China, loaded with cargo, and one very unexpected passenger, a gnome.
A stowaway gnome. Now, that's a story I haven't heard before.
Now, this isn't one of those cute little guys you see in a garden. This gnome snuck onto the ship in a sack of potatoes, no less, and ended up on a one-way ticket to the Far East.
Talk about an unexpected adventure.
But here's where things take a turn for the unexpectedly heartwarming. This gnome, he befriends the ship's captain.
Now, that's a detail that immediately jumps out, isn't it? This isn't just about a gnome seeking shelter. He forms a genuine bond with the captain, sharing secret meals, keeping his quarters spick and span.
It's like finding a loyal companion in the most unlikely of places, thousands of miles from home.
And this bond, it speaks to something deeply rooted in gnome lore. Across cultures, gnomes are often seen as protectors of homes, families, even treasured possessions.
Right, like little guardians.
Exactly. This gnome's actions, while unusual, they fit into that larger archetype.
And boy, does that protective instinct kick in. See, trouble's brewing on board. The crew, they get wind of a hefty bonus the captain's received.
Uh-oh, that can't be good.
And let's just say, they're not planning a congratulatory party. Mutiny is in the air.
A mutiny. So what does our gnome friend do?
Our gnome, sharp as a tack, he picks up on the danger. He knows those sailors are after the captain's strongbox.
Making things a little risky for our gnome friend, I'd say.
So what does he do? He becomes a tiny, whiskered Robin Hood and swipes the key.
No way. He steals the key. That's incredible.
He hides that key in an old lantern, essentially becoming a living lock to protect his friend.
Talk about bold. That's a powerful act of loyalty, especially for a creature so small, facing down a whole crew of disgruntled sailors.
I mean, talk about going above and beyond the call of friendship, right?
Absolutely. Though I hate to say it, I have a feeling this daring act might have some, well, let's call them consequences.
Yeah. Sadly, even the best laid plans of gnomes and men. This is where things get a little heartbreaking.
Let me guess. Stowing away on a ship to China didn't agree with our gnome friend.
Not quite.
Yeah.
He saved the captain's treasure, but he didn't survive the journey.
Oh no, that's awful. What happened?
The book suggests gnomes and long sea voyages, they just don't mix. Something about the dry air on the ship, the lack of fresh earth.
Yeah, that makes sense. Would take a toll.
Makes you wonder what was going through his mind, as he clung to that lantern, guarding his friend's treasure. Did he have any regrets? Or was it all instinct, that deep-seated gnome loyalty?
It's fascinating, isn't it, that even in these fantastical tales, there's a touch of realism. And there's this one detail, it really struck me. Years later, that same lantern, with the gnome's remains inside, washes ashore.
No way!
You're kidding.
I'm completely serious. And guess where it ends up?
Back at the farm. The one that supplied the ship with those potatoes.
Right back where it all began. Talk about bittersweet, huh? A full circle moment. A reminder that even in the vastness of the ocean, connections can endure.
Okay, I need a minute to process that. Talk about a story that stays with you. But before we get too lost in gnome-induced melancholy, Chapter 4, it throws us into even stranger waters.
Oh, how so? This is where we meet the Skogsvakten, or as the book translates it, the forest guardian.
Ah, yes, the forest guardian. And if the gnome story challenged our perceptions of loyalty, well, this one throws everything we think we know about life into question.
For real. This is where the cabinet of curiosities goes next level. We're talking about a creature so bizarre, it makes a platypus look like a house pet. Imagine a being, part tree, part chameleon, with senses so sharp it can practically predict the future.
Now that is something I would love to see. What else does the book say about this forest guardian?
Well, the book, it describes its camouflage as nothing short of extraordinary. Like it can blend seamlessly into the forest, mimic the texture, the color, everything.
Wow, that's wild. So it's not just about hiding, is it? There's more to it than that, right?
Yeah. Right. It's like the forest's own personal security system. The book says it can sense approaching danger, storms, fires, even rival tribes, and it sends out these subtle warnings that other creatures can understand.
Hold on, so you're saying this creature, it can actually communicate with other creatures. That's incredible.
It's like a whole network of communication we haven't even begun to understand. And get this, the book draws a connection between the forest guardian and indigenous cultures, particularly in South America.
Really? Tell me more about that.
These communities, they had a deep reverence for these creatures. They saw them as guardians, messengers even.
Messengers, that's fascinating. It really makes you think about what we might have lost touch with, doesn't it? All these other forms of communication, understanding, right under our noses.
Like, what if we've been looking at it all wrong?
Exactly. It challenges everything we thought we knew about intelligence in the natural world. What if there are forms of awareness and communication we're just beginning to even recognize?
But here's the real kicker. Ready for this? The book claims that the forest guardian specimen in Studio Rachel's collection, it might actually still be alive.
Wait, what? Hold on. Are you serious? Alive?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Apparently it's in some kind of suspended animation, dormant, for who knows how long.
So you're telling me there's a piece of this mind-blowing creature just sitting in a collection somewhere?
That's the idea. It's like a real-life Rip Van Winkle, but, for plants.
That's wild. This whole thing just throws everything we think we know about life out the window, doesn't it? I mean, the forest guardian, it blurs the lines. Plant, animal, conscious, instinct. Where do you even draw the line?
Right. We started with a gnome who swiped a key to save his friend, and now we're talking about, I don't even know, a living, breathing artifact.
It really makes you appreciate places like Studio Rachel Post, These collections of the strange and forgotten, they remind us how much we still don't know, how much wonder is still out there.
And, sadly, how much we might be losing. The book speculates that forest guardians, they're incredibly rare now. Might not even be any left. Something about habitat destruction.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality. But hey, that's why we do what we do, right? Shining a light on these stories, these incredible creatures. It's all about raising awareness, sparking curiosity.
Speaking of curiosity, I'm curious about you. Which story from these chapters really grabbed you? The loyal gnome or the enigmatic forest guardian?
Oh, that's a tough one. Like choosing between, I don't know, a loyal dog and a shape-shifting forest spirit. It's almost impossible to compare.
No, I get it. Both one of a kind in their own way, right?
Exactly. But you know what I think is truly remarkable? It's how Studio Rachel Post, it brings these stories together, creates this space where the unbelievable feels a little bit closer.
Makes you want to go on a quest of your own, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I challenge everyone listening, take a closer look at the world around you. What hidden stories are waiting to be discovered?
This deep dive, it's left me with more questions than answers, but hey, that's half the fun, right?
Couldn't agree more. There's always something new to learn, another mystery to unravel.
You got that right. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep those deep dive suggestions coming.